Welcome to What Am I Looking At? A podcast from the Department of Art and Design at Arkansas State University. My name is Dr. Tima Balducci, and I'm a professor specializing in modern and contemporary art. Throughout this series, each presenter will be giving insight into works of art that are in some way unusual, sometimes strange, sometimes hard to understand. I hope you enjoy today's exploration of the visual on your radio. Henri Matisse is one of the most influential artists of the 20th century, but he only discovered his love of painting when he was about 20 years old and recovering from an illness. His mother bought him some paints to help him get through the long days, and he ended up quitting law school to focus full-time on his art. His work is not considered particularly radical by today's standards, but in his own time he struggled to find buyers, in part because of his experiments with color. One of his best-known works is Joy of Life, that he painted around 1905. It depicts several nude figures in a landscape, which was a fairly traditional subject matter, at least since the Renaissance. But there were several things he did that were unusual, all in an attempt to convey the joy of the title. Probably the most obvious was the use of what is known as non-local color. This is color that is not natural, something an artist would use to create a particular mood or feeling in the viewer. For example, Matisse uses a soft, warm yellow for the grass rather than green. He wanted to communicate the warmth of the sun as if it were seeping upward through the ground and infusing the atmosphere, creating a vibrant, happy mood through color that is reinforced by the spontaneous dancing of the figures in the background. Another thing he did that was considered radical was to simplify shapes in human bodies. The trees, for example, are loosely painted with a leafy shape for the crown and then basic trunks. He's not trying to capture the detailed texture of the bark or delineate individual leaves, just a kind of visual shorthand to convey the idea of treeness. He also referenced the five senses in various subtle ways. Several of the figures are playing musical instruments, some are smelling flowers or eating fruit, and many of them are touching. When he and like-minded artists exhibited together for the first time in 1905, the public and even art critics were shocked by the riot of experimental color, loose brushwork, and simplified shapes. They mocked the group as fauves, which is French for wild beast. With this word, they were trying to capture a sense of the artist breaking boundaries and rules, being hard to domesticate and bring to order. The name stuck. Matisse went on to become one of the most prolific artists of the 20th century. He never stopped experimenting and worked almost until his death in 1954. His embrace of color made him a rebel because in the art world, line and drawing had always been valued over color. While drawing was seen as an essential skill, color was viewed as something merely decorative and subjective, something that could manipulate emotions. What Am I Looking At is provided by KASU in collaboration with the Department of Art and Design at Arkansas State. Stay tuned next week for another look at art over your airwaves.